All right, welcome. How we doing? Doing great. Welcome to our fourth Premier Lacrosse League championship. We have right here the Water Dogs taking on the Chaos, and it's going to be a really exciting weekend. The last time we were here for a championship game was our inaugural season, right here at Subaru Park, where it was the Whip Snakes and the Redwoods. It's going to be an exciting, certainly an exciting environment. And we're looking forward to having some great weather and these two teams going at it. So right here we have Jack Rowlett, starting defender for Chaos, and Michael Sowers, starting attackman for the Water Dogs. No coincidence. I think this is the marquee matchup that we look at over the weekend. So I wanted to get these two guys here and hear their perspective. And I think having been a player for so long and fortunately sat in their seats right here and kind of laced up their cleats for a championship game, I know the intensity that they're feeling right now. We don't do things like this very often, but you don't very often get to a championship game, and so we thought we'd hear from them directly. So first thing I'll ask is over to seniority. Jack, you sat in post-game pressers from week one, and it was a tough start for Chaos, and most of those pressers that I heard you back, you just kept saying, we're going to get there, we're going to get there. We talk about the doggedness in the booth with ESPN, but what is it actually about Chaos to getting here?
Yeah, I think it's been able to, follow Coach Towers' weekly message, which is just getting better, right? It can't be focused on wins and losses, and sometimes as an athlete, that's extremely frustrating, right? To be able to go out and have to accept the fact that today was a success, even though the scoreboard said it was a loss. So I do think that's kind of been a good message that we've been able to follow. I think we've been playing better last weeks of the regular season, even though we didn't get that W on the on the scorebook for a sense. But I do think we were playing better lacrosse. We're kind of following that message of just continuously getting better, and then you kind of can start to see it click for us. We are having more success. Guys have that confidence kind of renewed in them, and I think that makes us at our best when we have that confidence. We're playing with as much swagger as possible.
So what is it about confidence? Where does the confidence come from in the locker room? Because you can feel it. You guys are 2-8 walking out there as if you're 8-2 a couple of weeks ago.
I think you can point to you've been there type of thing. I think that can be a blessing and a curse, though. You don't want to sit on your laurels of, we've done this, so it's going to happen naturally. That's never how it works. But being able to relax and think, this isn't impossible. This is something we all have experience with. This is something that we can all relate to a little bit. That kind of, again, going to the playoffs, it sets you just a very level, you're very level and you're very, just relaxed, because there isn't a situation you haven't really seen. We've been not great in the regular season, made it to the finals and lost. We've been not great in the regular season, made it to the finals and then won that. So, we've had the ups and the downs, right? The ups and the downs kind of throughout the last couple of years. So we have that confidence, and there really isn't a situation we haven't been in.
Yeah. You finished the season in Tacoma, and you knew you got in because the Cannons lost right before you played on that Sunday, and you guys lost still to Atlas that game. Was there a moment that you can recall when you guys were in the locker room afterwards and leaving, or was it in that week? Was there anything that you can pinpoint where the energy shifted?
Yeah, I think we all were very excited to get out of the season and see that 2-8 kind of get removed from our, behind our name, from our record a little bit, because we can go to the playoffs being 0-0. I think we're also a team that, we do hold grudges. I think, we didn't like the way our first Chrome game went out in Denver. So I think being able to get that matchup early on in the playoffs, we had some things we didn't think we did very well out there from an X's and O's standpoint, from an individual matchup standpoint. So, again, I think that with being confident in what the guys are next to you, what they want to do, kind of what they're about, as well as in having kind of that focused intensity, focused hate, as Coach Towers might say, into that next matchup, I think that's where, we're at our best, and that's kind of what's pushed us to have success the last couple of weeks.
Okay. So opening remarks now for Mikey. You guys have taken down in consecutive weeks the top two teams in the league. Early on, it was Atlas, and then throughout, really, it became Whip Snakes. So no secret for anyone to see how monumental that could be from an energy standpoint. How do you think about now the last standing opponent was the winner last year?
Yeah, I mean, I think just getting over that hump, beating the Whips, I think, obviously that's a huge confidence booster. They kind of been like the standard of the league, and I know a lot of people have said that, but at the same time, Chaos is obviously the defending champions, and we played them down in Baltimore. We got the better of them, but we know that it's a completely different team now. And so I think for us, and I know Towers says it all the time, but we just want to focus on us. I think when we do that, usually good things happen. When we focus on external things, or we get too caught up in this team does this or this team has this guy, that's usually when we kind of fall apart. So I think in just staying true to who we are, it's kind of been our MO throughout the playoffs. It's just playing Water Dogs Lacrosse, which is unselfish, hitting singles, defense doing whatever they do, but at least offensively.
Yeah, well, if you can be a little bit more prescriptive on what Water Dogs Lacrosse is. So unselfish play, where does that start in the locker room? How does that bleed its way into every player? Singles, maybe describe that related to how you guys think about your offense.
Yeah, I think it really starts with the vets in the locker room. For me as a younger guy, I look to guys like Ryan Brown and Kieran McCardle, guys like Zach Currier, Mikey Saucer, and those guys that have been around the professional game for a long time, they'll be the first ones. They could care less what their stat line is when they walk off the field. It's really about, did we win or did we lose? And I think as a younger player to come into a locker room that has that mentality, you just kind of fall in line with the norm, and that for us is the norm. And I think if you just watch, our team, specifically on the offensive end, it's really bred by little plays. For my money, Connor Kelly should have been at least up for midfielder of the year, and not only because of what he did with the ball, but he's the best pick setter in the league. Anytime we want to get a matchup, he's setting a great pick. Our midfielders dodging hard, and they could take a bad low angle shot that for a lot of them it probably would go in, but instead they just kick the ball forward and we get numbers out the backside. So I think those little plays, when you add them up, they add up to a much larger result. And I think that as we've gotten high and we play better down the stretch, it's been those little plays that go unnoticed in the grand scheme of things, but that really makes up Water Dogs Lacrosse.
Yeah, and so being unselfish starts at the top, and not thinking about stats. Stats also don't lie. You're 21-11 this season, and you've had your challenges health-wise. What do you think you can attribute to your performance, even in the 2 playoff games, putting 6 goals up?
Yeah, I think for me, it really comes down to kind of I just talked about, we have a team where you don't have to come in and be anything more than what you're comfortable with. So I can just fall in line playing alongside guys like Ethan Walker and Kieran McCardle, and I can just go out and be myself. And for me, that's, quick hit, get the ball, go. If I have something, I'm taking the look. If not, I can kick it forward and have the confidence and the trust in the group that, okay, the ball got kicked forward. That doesn't mean the possession's over. We're still going to get a great look out of that. So I think just being able to settle in and just feel comfortable playing how I like to play, that's been a huge part of it.
So both teams here clearly focus on themselves, playing chaos ball, playing Water Dogs ball, but no one here would take for granted the level of scouting that they both do related to the opponents. So someone that you just played against, Grant Ament, held down, no goals, 2 turnovers last week. A lot of focus on that matchup. Similar style player as the guy over here. How did you prepare for that Grant Ament matchup, and what type of things do you see similar in him as you do Mikey Sowers?
I think I was talking to someone this week. I actually said I think that's maybe the scariest thing, or maybe the worst thing to do, or for me defensively, to put those guys in the same category. You can, but they're completely different players, and I think you can watch similarities maybe with how they dodge, or the way they want to attack certain approaches, or go at your top foot. But I think when it comes down to what they want to do individually, I really respect Mikey's game, the way he's able to get to the goal, the way he's able to want to score in front of the cage as much as possible. I think that both guys are obviously extremely talented, but it's going to take a slightly different game plan. Not going to be able to sit off as much and kind of observe. Going to have to go out and kind of dictate a little bit more, I think, than kind of have in the past, and make everybody then react to what the defense does rather than try to watch what their offense is doing and counter. I think we'll have more success when we go and kind of try to dictate early on.
Over your last couple of seasons, even going back to your time in Chapel Hill when you won a championship, how has your mindset evolved as a player?
Yeah, I think that there is, I think when I grew up and when I was in high school and early parts of college, I was taught that just like playing hard and playing fast and sometimes recklessly can make up for mistakes. I think the older I've gotten and the more I've been able to coach and be in kind of film sessions, the more I think my game has grown and I've been able to see tendencies and breakdowns and kind of have a better scout of everybody in the league and kind of have a better understanding of coaches and offenses they like to run and where offenses originate from, whether like that offense comes from the Northeast or to Syracuse offense from upstate back in the day, kind of where those coaching trees go. You can kind of understand what looks people want, kind of where an offense they find their the most success. So I think for me my biggest transition is being able to slow the game down physically and then raise my game mentally. I think is where I've tried to change it.
What do you think Jack does better than most defenders?
I mean, I think off the top, he's one of the best athletes in the sport. I think defender, him and JT are probably the two best athletes at that position. So anytime you're preparing for a guy like that, like for me, I just got to run as fast as I can, try and get away from him. Because he's strong, and he's got good feet. So just something that, like I said, you don't see an athlete like that every single time you step out on the field.
What about Blaze Reardon and his play so far this season, and how have you all thought about approaching his streak?
Yeah, I mean, I think Blaze is probably the best player in the world right now. I don't think you can take anything away from him. He obviously has been unbelievable down the stretch, as he has really every year in the playoffs. But at the same time, as a shooter, I don't think you can allow that to change how you think about scoring or shooting. You just have to go out and shoot. And I think at the end of the day, goalies in this league are really good, particularly Blaze. They're going to make saves that they shouldn't. But the minute that you let that get in your head and you shy away from shots that you would normally take, then all of a sudden that's when things can go sideways quick. So I think it's just, Blaze is obviously very good, but we're just going to shoot the ball.
What hand is Mikey?
Only because I've known him for so long. I think he's right-handed. That being said, over the course of the last couple years, honestly, probably since his maybe junior year at Princeton or maybe senior year before he went down to Durham, I think he's fully developed into a guy that will just play off of how you're playing him. If you're trying to force him to his right hand, then he'll just become a left-handed player. And that's kind of the benefit with him sitting back at X like that. He has that option to go both ways. So no, I don't think you can safely say there's one definitive answer.
What hand are you? Are you righty or lefty?
So I write with my right. I throw a football with my right. Lacrosse, I'm pretty comfortable with both.
But going behind the back and around the world with your left hand.
So I don't know why I'm more accurate behind the back lefty, but I can get more power righty.
Right.
When I was younger,
That's really easy to scout.
Right. Wow.
Yeah, my dad used to make me play, practice only with my left hand. I used to get yelled at if I put the stick in my right. So that's kind of where I developed, the two hands. I literally used to go through practices and have to figure out how to only play with my left.
Yeah. So you guys, you said you've known him. Where did you guys first start playing with or against each other?
Correct me if I'm wrong. I think we played on the U19 USA team together in 2016, so we probably did a year or two of tryouts before that, and then we were able to be on that team together. Am I correct? Incorrect?
Correct,
I think that's where you got our first chance.
And then didn't play against each other in college?
No, we never crossed paths at school.
Yeah. How'd you feel about when he transferred to Duke?
I was okay with that. I knew that was a crazy time going on. I think I definitely.
Well, he's a Carolina
If
guy,
he would have texted me, I would have tried to persuade him somewhere else. But no, I'm happy he got his opportunity to go down and play.
So there seems like there's some love between the two of you guys, and there's probably not going to be any when the lights go on Sunday. But I'll let you guys then take it. Who wins this matchup?
I mean, I think the Chaos do.
No, the matchup between the two of you.
Yeah, I think the Chaos. I mean, we can't defensively try to think this is going to be a one-on-one game. If you look at the Water Dogs offensively, I mean, there's 6 guys you could pull. I mean, a guy like Conrad's first overall pick a couple years ago. You obviously know Zach Courier. He just spoke about Connor Kelly, who I also think's had a tremendous year. So, again, for us in our matchups, like that's what we've been kind of talking about all week is just how dangerous each of them individually is. So we're hopefully the Chaos win this matchup.
And I've been seeing you guys have been sliding a lot.
Trying
recovering well.
Trying to play more team style defense.
Feels different than the regular season. Was
Absolutely.
there any change in the X's and O's, or you think you just finally have gotten timing right?
I think it was just a little bit of a mix. You know, we had tried a couple guys down low. I think Matt Reese has really filled in nicely to that third close defenseman spot. You know, he's someone really easy to work with, talk to. It's been a joy having him out there, and he's kind of, I think, helped us kind of push us over the edge.
Yeah.
Last couple of weeks for sure.
What type of motivation does losing 18-9 in June give you?
Oh, it's not great. I mean, we've never beaten the Water Dogs in the history of the Chaos Lacrosse
They're
Club.
3-0 against
They
them.
are. They beat us. You know, I think Zach Courier hit a game winner in the bubble. They killed us earlier this year. I think their coaches scored in that game. You know, I don't remember what the score was the year before, but I know we lost. So, you know, we've never beaten them. It's definitely a team that seems to have our number, but that kind of gives us that energy and effort to go out and turn it.
You hear, I mean, no matter how you frame it, it's tough to beat a team twice. Certainly hard to beat a team 3 times. They're 3-0 against you guys. I'm sure there's some rallying. Is there? You guys are conscious of that in the locker room?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think you hear that all the time. Like, it's hard to beat a team twice, but like, at the end of the day, like, it's a 48-minute game. Like, the reality is like nothing from the past matters on Sunday. Like, obviously there's some familiarity, but like whatever team plays better is gonna win. And I think for us, we just want to go out and play well. You know, it's the last game of the year. Everything kind of builds to this moment. You always say you want to be playing your best lacrosse in late August, September. And so, you know, for us, like I said, like we know it's a very different Chaos team that we're going to see. And, you know, nothing carries over from that first game. It's a whole new game. So
When you guys were watching the semifinal last week, were you in preference of playing Chaos or Archers?
You know, like I said, it's like I don't really think that, like, I was watching the game, like, I didn't really have a preference because, like I said, it's, you know, if we play well, we feel confident against anybody. I think when you get caught up against, like, who you're playing, who your individual matchup is, you kind of get lost in the grand scheme of things where, you know, we're just going to go out and we're just going to play. Like, you know, we had the Whips in the semifinals. They had been in every championship since league inception. Like, you know, we just went out and played, and we're going to try and do the same thing on Sunday.
How would you describe, this is the last one for you, how would you describe your personal mindset in the locker room ahead of the game on Sunday at 3 o'clock?
I think for me, I just try and remind myself to, like, be aggressive and stay aggressive. Like, in this league, especially, like, guys are going to make plays. Blaze is going to make saves. Raul's going to make plays, too. Like, I just need to, you know, remain aggressive throughout the course of the game and do what I can and what the team needs to help us get a win.
What's playing in your headphones on Sunday?
It's got to be something light. I come with enough aggression and anger, I feel like, for the whole season, like in every game. So I got to keep myself a little cool, calm, and collected kind of, I guess, before we run out onto the grass.
Yep.
So anything light, pop music, country music, house music, whatever. Just anything nice and uplifting.
How long have you been ready for this game?
Been excited. Honestly, since, you know, the second we won, you know, the way that it was set up, we kind of like saw some of those Water Dogs guys as we were kind of coming in after our game. So I think that kind of just set the tone right there. It's been something that we've all been excited about. Blaze has been sending messages, firing the boys up every day. So no, definitely excited.
Cool. All right, questions? Joe, I'll let you manage.
Kyle Bennett from the Outside the Box podcast. Michael, I'll start with you. Obviously, playing in your backyard, how special is it, you know, to get the opportunity to compete for a championship in Philadelphia?
Yeah, I think personally it's really special. I think my mom bought like 130 tickets, something like that, and that's not even like our 20 comps. So we're gonna have like a lot of people there. But I think it's also cool because like obviously like to get to this position, like it's much bigger than like just yourself. Like I had an unbelievable support system growing up who parents and grandparents, brothers who always came to my games, like always drove me to wherever I needed to be, training, practices. So I think for them to get to see me compete for a championship, like in our home city, it's really special.
And then, Paul, for you, first year off the field, but Philadelphia's been a staple on, the playoff portion of the tour. What's it like, coming back here every year for the playoffs and just seeing the turnouts with the Philadelphia faithful coming out to watch, the best in the sport?
It's great. It's hard to imagine any city across the country where we bring the championship to where there wouldn't be a level of excitement and turnout. But seeing what we were able to do from the Philadelphia faithful in our first year, where most people, including a lot of the PLLers, weren't quite sure what the product would look like in Gillette in week one, to see that turnout was special. And that turnout was there before the national anthem started, in the middle of September when football is back. So we're thrilled to be back here in Philadelphia. We'll continue to come back to Philadelphia for our tentpole playoff championship moments. So as Philadelphia continues to pour themselves into the PLL, we'll continue to do that back.
Do you have any more questions?
Jack, question for you. Kevin Boylard here, independent content creator. How important is it in the playoffs, giving up the body? I saw you in the semifinals dive in front of an aim-it shot. Saw you dive into the net when Blaze was looking for the ball in his shorts. Is that a mentality thing that kind of takes over when time comes for elimination games?
Yeah, don't really want to relive that one from last week, but Blaze had a line in the bubble when we were 0-4 about it's like 200 days before you can compete again once the season's over, right? Just the way the league works. It's I don't know the exact numbers, but it's around 200 days till you can compete again, till you can be a man again. So I think that not that every game isn't important, but just almost that constant reminder of if you don't make this play, every play, how quickly it can be done. So again, I think that adding a level of anticipation, excitement to every game, but then having that fear of possibly going home, you just want to do everything you can to be able to compete another week, be with your guys for another week, go get dinner for another week, and kind of everything that comes with a weekend playing.
Michael, last year you got hurt in week one, missed almost the entire season, came back for the playoffs and lost to the Whips. I was curious what this season has meant to you, being able to play for the majority of the year and be to this point now where you're in the championship game in the PLL for the first time.
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool for a million different reasons. I think the biggest thing, though, is, what's unique about, when you're injured is, you can be on Zooms, but, when you're not traveling with the team, you really don't feel like a part of it. Even though, we had a great locker room, people were reaching out. But to finally, be with the group for the entire year, and, I had a couple weeks where, I missed or I was limited, but just to be able to, travel with the guys and be in the hotel, go to team dinners, go to practice, the games are awesome, but, those are the moments that kind of, make the team. So I think just to be able to, take part in those moments, and now, to be here in Philly, everybody's already in the hotel. We're going to get dinner tonight. We'll be with each other all day tomorrow. It's really cool.
We'll open it up for questions on Zoom.
Hey, this is Dan Arestia. This is a quick question for Paul. You mentioned the sort of the rough starts that both of these teams got off to, and then they both actually did end up in the bottom half of the standings. Will the league be considering or looking at any format changes, either to regular season or postseason formats, to try and make those regular season results more impactful?
Thanks, Dan. That's a good question. So I would say, looking at our short 4 seasons of existence, the first was with 6 clubs and trying to build an innovative playoff model. If you remember, we had a plan for the number 1 pick, operationally intense for the league, but we're going to continue to pursue that. And then we got hit with this global pandemic, and we shifted to a tournament for 2020. And then last year it was really a truncated schedule where we were exploring double headers, but went to this format for the first time where top 7 teams make the playoffs and the number 1 seed gets a bye. This year we introduced the championship series, which we think was and will only become more compelling for each of the clubs now that the top 4 have advanced. I think once the top 4 and then the bottom half who miss out see what happens in February, there's going to be, I think, a bit of an arms race between that 4-5 every year, creating that excitement. We believe every game matters for the reasons that Jim Stagnita or Andy Copeland last year will talk about. Maybe I don't want that first round bye, and that's granted the number 1 team to. Honestly, the past 2 seasons, they've come down to the last game between the 7 and 8 seed of making in. However, we are always looking at ways to improve. So gathering feedback from our audience, from our players and our coaches. There's a world where a 6-team playoff would probably look like the top 2 teams getting a bye. So you still maintain a quarters, a semis, and a championship. I just care a lot about playoff lacrosse. And I believe a 7 and a 5 seed can put on a show in a championship game like we're going to see this Sunday. And that's pretty cool that we got that.
Sowers. Michael, you were kind of in and out of the lineup the last game. You started off hot, but you were dealing with a little bit of a hamstring injury, listed as questionable on the injury report. How are you feeling going into this game?
Great, 100%.
It's on mute.
Hey, this is DJ from Outside the Box. My question's for Paul. So you just brought up championship series and playoffs and regular season, getting games to quote unquote be more meaningful. Do you ever plan on bringing back the first round pick game, or is that always just going to be, bottom seed gets that and just moving forward with the championship series?
We'll look at it. I think that if we were to go that route, then we would revamp the playoff system again entirely. Like I said, when Dan asked, it's something that we focus on in season and out of season are ways that we can continue to improve. We're still only the early stages of building this league. And expansion can take a number of different forms, by teams, by schedule in the regular season, by championship series, by potentially other off-season events or tournaments that we can create. One more note, just speaking as a player with these guys too. Once you suit up and step out on the field, I don't know that any player in this league would say that the game doesn't matter. And if that's their mentality, they're going to work themselves off a playoff or a roster pretty quickly. I've never seen pro lacrosse have this level of scarcity, where top tier talent is scrambling every week to maintain their position. And I think our coaches and GMs have gotten smarter, hopefully more communicative, and I think our players are working harder. Hopefully more communicative. We are we hear it every week how much it matters. It's one thing that I'll just say too, was really challenging in my career of being a co-founder in this league and playing in it. But what was challenging was the locker room, the walks from the hotel to the field, the encounters with teammates and opponents. The least challenging was just putting your helmet on and going out and playing. Like, that's when, whether I played well or didn't, that's when all the noise goes out, and that's what a competitor brings to the field.
We'll take one more question.
Cool. I have one before. When you dove at Tom Schreiber's last shot, were you diving just for the camera? Was that the only thing? Because that's what it looked like.
I did not know that's where the camera was before, but now I'm very aware of where the camera is.
So
on
that
the
just
goals.
that was a happy coincidence.
That was lay on the puck hockey. Yeah, just like literally lay on the puck like
so
at the NHL.
block the camera, which I thought was clever.
Yes.
And then what looked like gesturing toward the camera where the ball was, too.
Yeah, I was letting the fans.
The only thing we
didn't.
didn't see was the wave into the camera.
Exactly. No, I did not know that's where the camera was. It was the ball went into Blaze. He gave like a I don't know where it is or I can't find it kind of shout. And the first thing I thought was just lay on the goal line. Don't let it roll out of his shorts. That'd be the worst way.
Nice.
Give one up.
The cerebral assassin. All right, thanks, guys.
So,
Cool.
Thanks, guys.
thank you.